Hi everyone, Brian here, coming to you from the sanctuary at Church of Our Savior, wishing you a great Friday and a wonderful weekend ahead. I'm standing here because I'm aware that so many contemporary Christians are building churches that are extremely plain and very spare. And I even hear some Episcopalians ask the question, why do we have churches that are filled with all sorts of things, especially things made out of silver and brass, gold? Why do we, make the churches fancy and pretty? Is that just a kind of a vanity that we should perhaps be beyond at this point in human history? Most people, on the other hand, when they come into Church of Our Savior, it's the first experience they have is just how beautiful the church is. So, of course, over the years, all the rectors of this church have wanted to preserve the beauty of Church of Our Savior and even to enhance it as best we can. We have a couple of great traditions here. That is that lay people are very involved in the decorating of the church at Christmas and Easter. And it doesn't look like perhaps the way a florist would do it or a professional designer, but it has to do with that exuberance that lay people bring to making the church just as beautiful as we possibly can. I'm also very fond of the fact, not only here at Church of Our Savior, but really any place I go in the Episcopal Church, to see what happens on that Thursday night in Holy Week, to see the difference between an altar of repose that is created by a priest and an altar of repose created by lay people. The prayer book practically ignores the idea of even having an altar of repose. But somehow I get it that lay people themselves comprehend just how important that time in the garden was with Jesus. And so once again, when you see lay people given a free hand to create the garden of repose, it's just lush and magnificent and as decorated as possible. Whereas the official theological thing would say, oh, it should be a subdued, very simple way to do things. You can't see it from where I'm standing, but I also have great pleasure every year when our new Paschal candle arrives. The kids in the 9 to 12 atrium design and decorate the candle each and every year. So we just purchase a very plain, an absolutely tabula rasa, blank canvas Paschal candle, and then it is abundantly filled this year with flowers and all the basic symbols of what it means to be a Christian, celebrating the renewal of life. Just over my left shoulder is perhaps the newest edition of the beautification of this church. We have a wonderful tradition of iconography in the church, and we now have a new icon of the Holy Trinity, based on the three visitors, the three angelic visitors that came to see Abraham and Sarah. It looks small perhaps from the back of the church, but because it's made in the traditional manner, it just has its own light and energy that exudes out throughout the church. And I'm delighted that our brass cross, in a sense, stands literally on the foundation of the Holy Trinity itself, because the fact of the cross is based on the amazing nature of God's self-sacrifice for the world. Which brings me to the point of answering that question. Why do Episcopalians decorate their church? Why do we spend money to make it pretty? And why do we have silver vessels, say, for Holy Communion, rather than the kind of undoubtedly simpler vestments that Jesus and his disciples would have used around the table in the upper room? And the reason is we cannot, at least as a community, help but honor and give thanks for the incredible nurture and support of the world by God. God has, from the moment of Big Bang, from the moment that the history of the created universe began, given of the divine self for the sake of the creation, that the creation will not only be an existent reality, but that it will be beautiful, majestic, lively, and that is just as true of our amazingly diverse planet full of life and the human experience here. And there are almost no words, really, if you finally comprehend the incredible givingness of God to the creation, and therefore to us. It's almost impossible to return that thanks. But we do so by honoring the beauty of the creation we have and creating these spaces that evoke our gratitude. So we use, the finest materials. We take the best care we can of them, and we enjoy them. So when you come into the space, I hope you'll see the new icon. I hope you'll see the Paschal candle. I hope you'll see all of the things that exist in the church, both the things that are here permanently and the things that change season by season. And you'll understand that they've been put there by people within the community in order to give thanks to a God who so much deserves our deepest gratitude, and that there's literally not too much we can do. Always remember that if there's a precious memory in your life, you will probably put it in a special place and honor it in a special way. Christians have that corporate memory. The memory is that God not only did, but is working to bring forth God's holy life into the human experience. And we can't help and can't wait to show that off. Have a great weekend. If I don't see you Sunday, join us on the live stream or the video. Blessings.